Humans love beef. Steaks and hamburgers are simply just the best things. But they're also the worst kind of meat. Beef is pretty much the most inefficient way of feeding humans. If we look at it on a global scale, our cheeseburger diet is literally eating up the planet. Now, why is that, and what can we do about it without giving up our burger? Humans keep a lot of cattle for food. About 1.5 billion heads of cattle to be exact. Now that's a lot of mouth to feed, so we've transformed Earth into a giant feeding ground. About 60% of all agricultural land is used for growing beef. This land is used for growing food for the cows. Now just how big is this? It's about 30 million square kilometers. That's about 3 times the size of the United States. Unfortunately, meat production is like a black hole for resources. Since cattle are living things, most of their food is used to keep them alive while they grow their tasty parts. Only a fraction of the nutrients we feed them end up in the beef we buy in the end. Cows convert only 4% of the proteins we feed them into beef, and only 3% of the calories from the plants we feed them get turned into beef. More than 97% of the calories are lost to us. To create 1 kilo of steak, a cow needs to eat up to 25 kilos of grains and uses up to 15,000 liters of water. That's enough to fill a small swimming pool. Beef are guzzling up tons of food, but it only makes up a small portion of the calories humans eat. To make our favorite burger even more unsustainable, about 5.8% of all greenhouse gas emissions caused by humans are created by the cattle industry. That is 3 times worse than the airline industry. Eating beef releases more greenhouse gas than riding a plane. And another aspect to beef is that it comes from actual living cows. Cows are not the ones writing history books, but if they were, humans would appear as rampant genocidal maniacs that thrive on suffering. Globally, we kill about 890,000 cows every day. That's about 328 million cows a year. One could argue that we're doing them a favor. After all, they wouldn't exist without us. We provide the food and shelter and the gift of existence. But we're not very nice gods. A lot of our beef comes from factory farms, huge industrial systems that house thousands of animals. They're engineered to be as efficient as possible, so they have little regard for things like quality of life. For example, dairy cows are forced to breed continually to ensure their milk supply, but are separated from their young just hours after birth. To fatten up beef cattle for slaughter, they're put in confined pens where they can't roam around and put on weight more quickly. And to make it possible to keep them so tightly together without dying of diseases, we pump them full of antibiotics. The truth is, if suffering were a resource, we would create billions of tons of it per year. The truth is, the way we treat animals like cows will probably be one of the things future generations will look down on in disgust. While all these things are true, something else is true too. Burgers are amazing. Steak is the best food. We hardly ever see how our meat is made. We just eat it and love it. It creates joy, it brings us together, and we have barbecue parties. So how should we deal with the fact that burgers are extremely bad for the planet and a sort of horrible torture? For now, there are 3 easy options. The first is switching to chicken or pork, because chicken and pork is 5 times less destructive to the planet than beef. The second option is eating beef less often. Taking a burger-free day per week already makes a huge difference. And lastly, try a plant-based burger for a cruelty-free burger. You can also try lab-grown meat. A torture-free burger will always taste delicious to me.